and my report and plan that you can find outside on the table or on my website at laurenforirvine.com. Again, and thank you so much.
Okay, next person speaking is Carrie O'Malley.
Thank you. I'm Carrie O'Malley. My husband and I have been proud Irvine residents for over 20 years, and I have lived every aspect of the city. We are original homeowners in North Park, where I serve as vice president on our HOA. I also serve as vice chair of the Irvine Transportation Commission. Our open spaces, villages, and neighborhoods were essential reasons why my husband and I chose to move to the master plan city of Irvine over 2 decades ago. We have raised our 2 teenage children here in Irvine. I, like many of the residents here today, have built a life in Irvine which extends not just to our homes, but to our communities, outdoor amenities, open space, parks, trails, sports programs, and top-notch quality of life. My heart is in Irvine, and I care deeply for our city. Today, I find that we are at a crossroads, which will shape the way that our city becomes. That is why I'm running for the council. When we first moved to Irvine in 1997, we were at a population of about 150,000 residents. We are now upwards of 275,000 plus residents. We have essentially doubled in size and population. I am running to protect our master plan, which is protect and preserve our open space and Irvine villages, implement practical transportation solutions, and to ensure that Irvine remains the safest city in the United States, and as it has been for 13 years in a row. I also want to keep our top-notch education with innovation and technology for our children. As Irvine Taxpayer Association Chair, I stand for sound fiscal policies and will always look out for Irvine taxpayers and make sure that our taxes are being spent wisely and not wastefully. I have 2 decades of public policy experience professionally, working at the Board of Supervisors as a senior policy advisor focusing on transportation and public safety issues, working for the California State Assembly, and working for the OCTA, the Orange County Transportation Authority. I'm dedicated to being your resource, your advocate, and I want to be your voice on the City Council. It would be an honor to have your vote. Thank you.
We now going into questions and answer. That's 1 minute. 1 minute answer. First one. Lisa. What is one unique qualification that makes you ideal candidate for city council?
The true unique qualification I have is independence. I'm free from any special interests and free from partisan affiliation. I'm independent. I'm also do not have historical baggage. A lot of issues, as I described earlier, were caused by those factors. And I'll be truly representing your voice in the City Council to make Irvine a better place for all of us and the generations to come. Thank you.
I'm going to try to pronounce your name. Kev Abazajan.
Thank you. Kev Abazajan. My unique feature is I'm a scientist. I'm the only scientist running for this race. I'm the only person that's been endorsed by 5 members of the National Academy of Sciences at UC Irvine, 5 deans, former deans that are part of the campus, including 2 of the founding deans that helped found the university. The university is 1/6 of this city, and I think we should have it play a larger role in this city. It's got so much expertise and so much talent, as well as much of the rest of the city. The other thing about being a scientist is, we deal with facts, we deal with the evidence, we deal with what actually is true, and not just arguing for a certain point to get to a certain place. And so we need to have experts like attorneys that know the law, but we also need experts with a diverse set of backgrounds that can hold the feet to the fire to make sure that the rhetoric that happens is actually based on facts.
Next one, Frank. I'm only going to use first name from now on.
Dr. Pat.
What's most unique about me is that I'm an urban planner and nobody else is. I have a master's degree in urban planning, and I worked for the Orange County Planning Department for 30 years, where I helped you create 15 planned communities. I know the difference between good planning and bad planning, and in Irvine, over the last 5 years, the planning has been bad. I've interfaced with all aspects of local government, so I know how local government works, and I believe I can help turn Irvine around and get it on the right track. And
Farah?
So I bring to the table experience not only from the corporate sector, small business, but also nonprofit. And besides that fact, I'm probably one of the only candidates that actually has kids in our elementary, middle, and high school right now. So I look forward to integrating our current culturally diverse population to be more aware of the issues that are arising and bring them forward and have that open, transparent discussion, not only from the City Hall, but within the communities that are here.
Anthony?
So my slogan, if you will, we don't really use slogans in campaigns, is that I'm from Irvine and for Irvine. I'm the only candidate here that grew up here. I'm the only candidate that as a bratty kid rode my bike through Woodbridge terrorizing the community. But also, what that means is, I'm the candidate that understands why people were attracted to this community. Why? Because I lived it. I lived our remarkable parks. I was able to ride my bike through the community because we were a safe community. I was a student. I think I'm probably the only person here who went through the Irvine Public Schools from kindergarten through high school. So I understand Irvine. I know why we have such a great quality of life, and I'll know how to protect it.
Lauren, next.
Well, I think I'm the only candidate that's the mom of twins. I don't know if that qualifies me, but really, I am the only candidate in this race who has spent their entire career fighting for children and families as an attorney and an advocate, and that includes addressing safety, housing, education, the emotional well-being, physical well-being, and making sure that families thrive in this community. That's been my life's work and will continue to be my work on the council.
Next one, Jackie. Hello?
I am not accepting any developer funds, tax or otherwise. I am supported by a grassroots campaign. I am one of the founding members. There were 6 of us that brought the CERT program to the city of Irvine. That's the Community Emergency Response Team. About 20 years ago, I was in class 1. Our names are over in granite in the at City Hall at the Bill Barber Park for founding CERT here. We're now on class 70-something, so it's fantastic. I'm also a ham radio technician, 8 years with Irvine Disaster Emergency Communications. We search and rescue, we observe and report, and we are supported by the Irvine Police Department. I am a successful real estate broker with Seven Gables Real Estate, about 20 years now, as a small business owner. I received the Volunteer of the Year award from the California Crime Prevention Officers Association as Volunteer of the Year for Southern California from the Attorney General. Thank you.
There's an issue with the microphone, so he's going to take them and we're just going to all share.
We're just going to share the ones in the middle because these are apparently not picking up for the audio from that.
Next one is again.
Hello, my unique qualification to prepare me for the job as a city council because I'm the only licensed architect in this panel. As you know, this city is great is because of the architect, Ben Pratt, who created the first master plan. So I'm another architect that will restore the city's master plan. In my whole life, I have been dealing with many different people because as an architect, you deal with developers, you deal with city, you deal with consultants, you deal with owners. That prepare me for the job as a city council. Well, that's what's lacking in the current city council also. Remember, I'm a Christian also, because what I learned is if you point a finger at others, you have 3 fingers pointing to yourself. So we respect everybody, we listen to everybody, and we analyze the problem, we come up with the solution. That's what we do. And we all talk about control the growth. I'm going to quantify how to control the growth. And just give you an abstract concept of control the growth.
All right, next one is John.
I believe the unique trait I bring to the table is that I'm a businessman, both as an executive of 2 Fortune 1000 companies, as well as the head of my own company at this time. You know, I was thinking about this, and I thought that in business, we don't have the luxury of asking you if you're right, middle, or left in the political spectrum. We all get together at a table, we problem solve, we come up with win-win solutions, and we innovate. And I hope to be able to bring that type of thinking to City Hall. And by the way, I also have 3 kids in elementary school, middle school, and in high school. 2 of them are here. Not so happy that they had to go to Daddy's campaign event on a Saturday morning. So thank you.
Next one is Carrie.
Thank you. My unique qualifications are that I'm the only candidate that has a public policy background. For 20 years, I have been working on expert policy analysis, both at the state level, the local level. I know how to hit the ground running on day 1 of the council. Currently on the Transportation Commission, I analyze the items, I vet the items, I'm a deep thinker. I bifurcate motions. Sometimes I say, no, we're not, not for that motion. We're going to put together a totally new motion. And I really know how to combine what I'm hearing from the residents when they come for public comments, which I treasure, and listening to the residents, working with the residents, sometimes going into the villages. If there's an issue in Turtle Rock or West Park or Woodbridge, I've gone to residents, I've listened to the residents, and let's find a problem and a solution. Coming back to the commission, making those motions that work, and being a problem solver and a practical thinker. My deep thinking and my policy background will serve me well. I can hit the ground running on day 1, and I look forward to representing you on the city council. Thank you.
All right, next question. I'm going to state the question first. What specifically would you do to ease traffic and congestion, and how would we pay for it? The first person to answer is John.
Okay, so recently the city has committed over $79 million for 21 infrastructure improvements regarding traffic. So I think that's definitely a move in the right direction. So you're going to hear about a lot of ideas, lane expansions, flashing yellow lights, pedestrian bridges. These are all things that are currently being explored right now. So, a couple of things that I like to add to the table is definitely the expansion of the ice shuttle. Currently serves the Spectrum and the Irvine Business Center area. And what we'd like to do is expand that throughout the city. And by the way, for residents, I like to make it free. And in addition to that, we have 360 miles of bike trails in Irvine. And it makes me wonder why we don't have a bike share program in the city of Irvine. That's another thing we could do to get people on these trails that are amazing in Irvine. Thank you.
Next person is Jackie.
Thank you. Well, what specifications to ease traffic? Number 1, cut in half as a starter the building permits. For every building unit permit that we issue 1 of those, 2 cars, 3 people, and 4 commuter trips. That's a lot of traffic. I would also institute talking to the Irvine Unified School District about instituting buses again. The traffic, people don't want to buy houses around schools because there's so much traffic every morning, and it's dangerous, and somebody's going to get really hurt. So I also want to talk about expanding the ice shuttle throughout the city. These are things that we can do as city council. We also then want to work with businesses and see what they can do to contribute to help us ease the congestion. Thank you.
Next person to answer is Kev.
So I think one of the first things that we could do, and I mentioned this at a previous forum, is that we could expand the iShuttle program. It is, and I think Ed Pope mentioned it, it is actually an innovative program to get shuttles between IBC, around IBC currently, but also between IBC and the urban spectrum, which are the two highest density areas within Irvine. But in general, that's just a short-term thing. We could also do some lane changes and dynamic lanes. Long-term, we need to catch up to the rest of the world and the rest of California. We need to get mass transit into Orange County, and we need to put it into these highest density areas. We need to electrify it so it can reduce our carbon emissions. And we need to take advantage of the resources of really brilliant people with high levels of expertise in transportation and infrastructure, like at the Institute of Transportation Studies at UCI. Thanks.
Next person is Lauren.
As I said, I'm the only candidate that's released a comprehensive traffic plan. You can find it on the table or at my website, laurenforirvine.com. I believe we need more transportation options in our city, and that includes incentivizing rideshare, making sure we have shuttle routes to transit hubs, as well as expanding our clean transportation and iShuttle programs. You know, our traffic is caused by our booming economy, but I think that we have solutions that are available to us. It takes the will to put them forward. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened to date. And so not only will I move forward on day one and agendize my transportation plan, but I will look at ways to pay for that, making sure Irvine receives its fair share of SB1 money. Thank you.
Next one is our Frank. Frank.
I agree with many of the things that the other candidates have already said. We need to limit the building permits and not issue so many. We have to have a practice of ensuring that infrastructure is in place before the building is in place. Expand the shuttle program, synchronize lights throughout the city. I don't think school buses mentioned, but we should get back to an active school bus program, and I think that would be a big help in the mornings and also in the afternoon. I don't think any of the candidates mentioned how they're going to pay for it. I think one of the significant things we can do is raise developer fees and have them help pay for these.
Next person is Farman.
So definitely we are all experiencing high traffic, and some of the things that we can do is, as we're developing these high density homes and apartments, we need to realize that without the public transportation component, it just doesn't work. So we need to make sure we have people in office that are going to realize how a city needs to develop moving forward and what we can do to sustain that development. Besides the public transportation, we need a seat at the table at the Orange County Transportation Authority. We need to make sure that we are seeking the grants that they have available to increase our public transportation, including the iShuttles, to our business sectors in Spectrum and the IBC. Besides that, there's so many ways that we can encourage our kids to utilize our bike lanes. But as a parent, I have to say, I feel uncomfortable with the 55-mile-an-hour cars going right next to my son on a bike. So maybe some safety measures there would be helpful also. Thank you.
Next one is Anthony.
Thank you. When I first became a commissioner, I learned about the iShuttle program. Not an expert in transportation, but I asked, what's the annual budget of the iShuttle? They told me the number. They said, what's the annual ridership of the iShuttle? They told me the number. And I did some division. And it was like $30 a ride. So I could put someone in an Uber, or probably even a taxi for that cost. And with those savings, we can put those dollars, paid for by developers and paid for by grants and paid for by transportation dollars, into significant road improvements that matter on Culver, that matter on Jeffrey, that matter on Jamboree, that matter on the streets that are clogged. I drove from Northwood one time to University Park at like 11 o'clock on a Sunday night, and I hit every single red light. If Santa Ana can figure out how to sync lights, we sure can too.
Next person is Carrie.
Thank you.
Transportation is something I have a very long background in, and I love talking about transportation. Some items that we've worked on the Transportation Commission are the signal synchronization program. In about 6 months, you will start seeing those really kicking in. Some have already started. We're working with Caltrans, and the council adopted that as well. So we are moving in a great direction with the signal synchronization throughout the city. Also, intersection improvements. These are key. However, we have to be very thoughtful about these. And at the Transportation Commission, we are. We don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We analyze and make sure that these make sense. We'll continue to do so. But I'm a big fan of the active transportation programs as well. Bicycling, public transportation, integrating all the aspects we have available to us. So it's not just streets and roads. It really has to be multimodal and a multifaceted approach to make things work. Public transportation, bicycle and pedestrian friendly, really taking advantage of some of those transportation solutions such as the OCTA Flex program, which is being piloted in South County, which maybe we could bring to Irvine as well. Thank you.
Next person, Gan.
I think to solve the traffic problem, we need to go back to the source of the problem. Instead of trying to treat the symptoms only, we need to reduce the traffic to begin with. Again, go back to basic. We need to do a better master planning, make sure we have adequate service available within walking or biking distance or a short driving distance. For example, Woodbridge is a very good example of master planning. Within the loop, you can go to your dental office, you can buy your grocery store, or go buy a grocery in your grocery store, and go to school in by bike or walking distance. And another thing is, I noticed Irvine has a practice, every time we have a new neighborhood, they build a new school. What they do is they move an old school from old neighborhood to a new school, and then they end up never even reopen the old school, and eventually we close the old school and build more housing, which generate more traffic. We need to probably set a timeline, they need to reopen the